Hello, hello. Today we have the Oden's Eye Trick or Treat palette. This is a collaboration with a YouTuber named Angelica and Nyqvist. This is their Halloween palette. This actually came out during Halloween last year. I ended up getting this, I'm pretty sure it came out in Halloween of last year, did it not? Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I got this palette when I look at my receipt. I got this palette in November of last year. So it must have been released before October. Maybe it released in like September or something, because I can't see this palette going on sale so fast and being part of the Black Friday sale, but I did get this part of the Oden's Eye Black Friday sale because I got this palette for $30.73. Personally, I don't watch Angelica anymore. I don't support her channel anymore. That's just my personal decision, whether you like her or not. I thought this palette was interesting. So even though I don't watch her channel and I don't support her, I did like this palette. And this was part of several palettes that I ended up buying during the Black Friday sale. It looks like I got 3 palettes all on sale. And this was one of them. And you gotta give flowers when flowers are due. I was definitely interested in the palette. I think the outside's very interesting. I think the color story is very interesting. It's very Halloween. I love these types of palettes that cater to the holidays. Specifically more any holidays that's not Christmas. I just think they're really fun. I think they're very interesting. So in terms of the artwork, this definitely goes along the lines of what this brand looks like and what it stands for. I like how colorful it is, and the jack-o'-lanterns, it's definitely very spooky. I love that. You have all the ingredient information in the back, but does this really count as having the ingredient information on the back when it's so tiny? Like, are you expecting people to bust out the freaking magnifying glasses to read this? Like, how are you gonna read this? And it's reflective too, so that also makes it harder to read. It literally looks like Arabic on the back. Like, it's so tiny. They have it in this paperless font. Holy God. Okay. Well, I'll guess this counts as having ingredients in the back. I like how the back is kind of reflective of what we see in the front. This is a slip-on. On the top you can see it says Oden's Eye. I kind of wish almost like if they had the name on the top of the palette instead, because I know some people like to line these up and look from the top to see what palette they're picking. But this is a slip, and it looks exactly the same. It is pretty much the same information in the front. In the back, you won't find the ingredients, but on the back of this, you're going to find the names of the shades. The palette itself has a matte finish, so it's very smooth, and we have some more glittery names and all that stuff. You could definitely tell they spent a lot of the money on the packaging and on the artwork. So I'm wondering if that's what the majority of this money is for, because I'm telling you right now, this does not feel like a $43.90 palette. So as you can see, there is a round mirror in here, and there is some artwork. It looks like they've put her out half here and then half here, but it is the same artwork. It looks like we got these bats here. It just keeps it the spooky theme. I like the little round mirror. It's different to the usual square mirrors you see in here, but we're going to cover that up and we're going to talk about the actual palette. Alright, so this is the color story inside. I thought this is a really interesting color story, and I guess kind of idea of what Halloween is, because it does feel very fall. It does feel very Halloween to me, especially with this kind of almost juxtaposition of the oranges and the greens, and then you have these kind of burgundy red browns that I feel are very associated with fall. You had this kind of standout teal here, which is like this pop of color, and then you have this light kind of yellow orange up top, which fits with the rest of these shades over here and fits that kind of Halloween theme. So I give kudos to the color story. I really did like this color story, but let's talk about the formula itself. So the best way that I can describe this palette is kind of all over the place in terms of formula. I think the formula itself is kind of mediocre for what it should be. I've heard a lot of positive things all the time from people who support and are affiliated with Oden's Eye. I don't think you will really ever find many negative reviews about Oden's eye. They tend to be very positive, and they tend to be very affiliated. And with this YouTuber in specifically, you would think that because she does this as a job, for a job, that maybe her palette would be quite a bit better and higher standard. So I did have high standards because I feel like Angelica has high standards, and this just did not even meet my standards. Of course, like always, like I'm not here to shit on this YouTuber or like talk bad about her or talk bad about this palette. I'm going to tell you what my actual experience was, whether it was good or bad. Because I can tell you, I absolutely love the mattes in this palette. This palette has some of the best mattes I've ever used in terms of my kind of makeup obsession with my makeup palette hobby. This definitely does have some of the best mattes out here. So if you're interested in mattes and not so much the shimmers, then I think, you know, you might end up liking Oden's Eye. I did do a review of the Cat's Breath palette recently. Please go check that video out. I wasn't impressed with my initial impression of the Oden's Eye formula. I was kind of like let down. I think the matte eyeshadows in this palette are a lot better than that palette, and in general I really like the mattes, and I'll keep going on about the mattes, but the shimmers in here are really weird. If I had to describe them, I would kind of call them mediocre. I was expecting them to be a lot better than what they were, and I was expecting them to be a lot better because of the price of this palette. Does this feel like a almost $44 palette? This is not a $44 palette, I'm sorry. Maybe it's because of the artwork. Like I said, it has really great presentation in terms of the artwork they have done for this, but it's still just, you know, cardboard packaging with a slip-on cover. I have bigger, better palettes that I've bought for $20, $25 at a more affordable price. I don't know. So let's talk about the shimmers. If you are part of my channel, you know that I am a shimmer gal. I love shimmers. I love the sparkle. And that's usually the make it or break it for me on all these palettes is, but do I like the shimmers? These shimmers are so bizarre. Let's talk about the look I did today. So I decided to split this up into 4 looks. I kind of see like these quadrant looks right here, so I did these quadrant looks. So today I put on this little quadrant right here, and I cannot tell you how bummed out I was. So in the pan, do you guys see this like beautiful mint kind of blue green? Again, if you're part of my channel, you might know that I love a mint blue, I love a mint green. It's one of my favorite colors, and once applied on the eye, it completely changes color. I think it looks a little bit more blue there, but applied on my eye, it completely lost pretty much all pigmentation of being blue, and it was just a silver. It basically just kind of turns into a silver with a slight gold hue, which, I mean, cool for me, because there was that beautiful shade in the Cat's Breath palette that I did like. That one I thought was so interesting because it completely changed color once applied to the eye, and I wasn't expecting that. And I was not expecting this color to change, because so I see it more on my hand here, but on my eye today, it looks just like straight silver, so I was really bummed out about that. I actually ended up liking this shade, this Trick or Treat shade, way more than my initial, this one's called Magic Potion. I like that a lot less once I realized it only looks like a silver on my eye. This one I ended up liking a lot more. It's like a burgundy kind of reddish brown with some like gold sparkle. I thought that's really pretty, and I really liked this shade, and I don't think I had a problem with the application. I think the shade's really pretty. This is one of my more favorite shades in the palette. The other shade I really liked in this palette was the Witch's Brew. This shade right here, this green. It surprised me because it has, I think it's a duochrome, and the way it looks in the pan is not the way it applied on my eye, and I was really surprised because I was not expecting that. It has a shift that I was not expecting to see on my eye. I don't know if I can even capture it now, but let's see if we can, it had like a blue kind of reflect in it, and I was not expecting to see a blue reflect in this green. I think it was just so cool. I was so surprised. And it's one of those things where I only saw it once it was applied to my eye, which rarely ever happens. Usually you don't see it applied on the eye. But let's talk about the shades. Like, WTF. Other than this Magic Potion shade, which I'm like, ugh. Which, by the way, this shade is so crumbly. It was kind of difficult to put onto my eye. And it was the same with this Mummy's Curse. I wasn't expecting these shades to be so crumbly, like, to be able to try and apply this with a brush and see all the bits and pieces. Do you see the bits and pieces? Like, on my eye. Do you see that? That's what it looked like on my eye. Actually, I ended up not being able to apply this shade in particular with a brush. I had to use my finger. You know I don't like to use my finger. But I was like, oh, okay, like, well, I guess it's, at least it has color, right? There's a lot of fallout with these shimmers that I was not expecting. Go into Full Moon. This one was really bizarre, because I feel like up close, I hated the way this looked on my eye. I feel like you could see all the chunks and pieces and separation, and I think this was another shade that I had to try and apply with my finger. There is a lot of sparkle fallout, but from far away I was like, wow, I really love this color from far away, but not up close. So that was that kind of broke my heart a little bit. I felt a little weird because I was like, I don't know why I hate this color up close when I was putting it on. From far away, if I was taking a picture, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cute. You know, like, I thought Dudley was okay. I thought the Crypt Keeper was okay. There's not too much sparkle in this, but I mean, where this palette really does shine is the these matte eyeshadows. So, am I gonna keep it? I'm gonna keep it. I have already paid $30 for it. I do like the mattes in it. I think their shimmer shade formula needs a lot more work. I think they need to work on it more. In terms of Angelica's vision, I like the color story, if this is the color story that she picked. I do like the color story. I think the shimmers need more work, which is, I think, is kind of the same thing I had to say about the Cat's Breath palette. The shimmers in there were definitely lacking. They weren't special. They weren't anything different that I've, haven't seen before. And especially at this price where our money means more than I think I did before in the past, like, 4 years. People are paying a lot more attention to what they're buying now. And I can't see myself recommending this palette at $44, plus the shipping and handling, right? But if you see this palette on sale and you're interested, I think you could try it if you wanted to. See how this works for you, see how this formula works for you. It takes a lot longer, but I can deal with trying to work with these shimmers. But, I mean, it has some really cute, I didn't even point out, there's like, let me flip this over. There's like little stamps in here. There's like these little bats, and there's like a spider, and the skull and crossbones. Like, it's really cute. I do like, I keep saying it over and over, but I really do like this color story. It sucks that the shades in here could have been a lot better for the price. In terms of the matte shades, I really do love this house shade. As you can tell, look at that, it matches my sweater completely today. I absolutely love yellow. I'm always looking for a good yellow, and I think this is a good yellow. I really love this mustard matte yellow. I also really love the cemetery and vampire fangs, even though they look a little too close to each other in terms of shade range. I did really like those colors. And then this poison shade reminded me of the recent Bella Beauté bar, the Strange and Unusual palette. There was a shade like this. It's like a neon green, and I just wanna swatch this for y'all. It might be the only matte I swatch, because I just want to show you guys that this is what I should have gotten in the Bella Beauté bar. Like, it should have been way more pigmented, y'all. Like, look at this. Do you see the pigment? That is a neon green. Do you remember how transparent that neon green was from the Bella Beauté bar? I'm just saying. If you are interested in this palette, try to get it on sale. I don't think this palette is worth your the full amount of retail. You get some good mattes in here, great color story, some beautiful artwork. But overall, you know, I'm gonna keep this palette. I've already bought it. It's not awful enough for me to give away, but you know, I'll work with it until, you know, I feel like I'm done with it. But I'm gonna keep this one. Let me know what y'all think below.